Hello there, Leo, and welcome to your November forecast. It's really great to see everybody again, and hopefully this month is getting off to a great start for you. I'd like to start off by acknowledging we're all in a retrograde period right now, which of course can kind of carry its own challenges, usually regarding clarity and communication. Sometimes there are technology blips or difficulties, and when traveling, you want to allow a little extra time to account for any unforeseen delays. On the flip side of things, there also exist several blessings during this period. One of the key ones that I notice personally is that my dreams are especially clairvoyant. To give you a couple examples, what would happen for me sometimes is if a friend is in need or is thinking of me, it'll come through in the dream. If somebody in my life, a coworker, a family member, or maybe also a friend, has something that's bothering them about me or just in general, then this also reveals itself either in a symbol or a direct communication. They'll just say exactly what's on their mind. So it's really great because you get absolute clarity, but sometimes you wake up and think, why did that happen? Or how do I know this now? It's because the veil's lifted a little bit, and whatever you really need to see, whether you want to or not, retrograde will kind of put it right in front of your face. That's because this is a time to resolve. So revealing, resolving, and then I would say that you get a chance for that, a second go around, a second chance at anything in your life where it didn't work out before. This is a time to clean up your physical, metaphysical, spiritual, emotional, energetic house. So take advantage of it, and don't be surprised if you get some messages that are really, really clear or come at a time that surprise you. Staying open is going to be really key, and I think you're going to perhaps enjoy that part of retrograde. If any of you are trying to deepen your intuitive skills, this is a really good time for meditation and going along that path a little bit deeper than you normally would. We'll talk a little bit more about anything retrograde related when I look at the reading, but before I get too deep into this, I feel like I'd also like to say hello and give a proper introduction. First and foremost, for anybody that's a return viewer, welcome back. It's great to see you again. Thank you again for spending time with me and also working on yourself. It means a lot. If you're brand new, let me give you that proper introduction. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and I'd like to also provide a quick overview of how I organize this reading for each and every month. I like to start off with channeled information. Much like what I was talking about here, this is going to come from the heart and also from my guides and anything that I'm hearing, feeling, or seeing for the month ahead. So it's just raw intuitive skills, and then I'll share that with you. After that, I will use the cards that I've selected for your sign, and I'll pull a full Celtic Cross. And then in that, what I really like is it's an organic sort of session where you can see highlights, any sort of opportunities, and also any challenges that might be coming through for the month ahead. And then I like to go a little bit more specific in areas that I know you care about, including health, wealth, love, and destiny. And I call that portion the expanded forecast. Now, if you like what you see here, I'd love for you to stick around until the end. As you can tell, this is a really comprehensive overview, and what I do at the end is I will bring everything together in the course of like 5 to 7 minutes so you can get a quick review, and then I'll leave you with a closing word as well. This is also the point during which I will talk about how you can give back to the channel, and if you like what you see here, everything's viewer supported. So anything such as liking and subscribing, of course, is very helpful. Joining me on social media, booking an appointment if you'd like to talk a little bit more, or becoming a patron and giving like a one-time contribution. All of these things help support the health of the channel, and I'll go into better detail at the end, but I can't wait to share what's coming through for this month, and I know you're anxious as well to hear about it. So let's jump straight into your channeled information for the month of November. This month, as I selected a deck of cards and I began to focus on the energy of your sign, there were a few things that came through for me. The first thing that I noticed was that I was standing at a symbolic doorway. I didn't really see what the frame was attached to. I just knew that I was in a doorway. And then I stepped back and I looked at the figure in the doorway, and it reminded me of the god Janus, which is an old Roman god that you see on coins sometimes. It has two different faces, and it is at that connection between the past and the future. And I wasn't looking at the back of the head, which is, again, gazing towards the past. Instead, I was peering through its eyes, looking at the future. And as I was doing this, what it was showing me was all of the possibilities. Everything was starting to open up, expand, light up. It was like morning, like the beginning of the day. And what I wrote down in automatic writing as I looked at this was to focus on possibilities and to really focus on expansion. This doesn't diminish the importance of understanding your history or what happened in the past, but what it's saying is that those were simply building blocks. They don't have to define you, and what's going to be more effective and more important this month is to figure out now what you want to do differently starting today. And also that this is a month of creation, of rebirth, of new sort of definition or new opportunities, even in the face of conflict or where in perhaps the past you had difficulties. You can rewrite your story this month. You can revise the story. And in doing so, expand, try new things, and move past those old blocks. This is a month of blessings. Back when I used to do weekly readings, I would talk about blessings and blocks. So this month, really what the energy that's coming through, it's all about focusing on how everything could be a blessing. So we're going to look at that today when I take a look at the Celtic Cross, the expanded forecast, and anything else that comes through. But overall, this was a very positive read. I will say for some of you, because Janus faces two directions, some of you will be also at a point in the road where you're going to have to decide whether you want to stay put or try something new. And because this is a god of past and future, what I started to tune into was the energy of both like the World card and the Fool, which are at different ends of the major arcana spectrum. So some of you have this opportunity to take a leap of faith because both of those cards are about realizing maybe that you've learned everything in a particular situation in your life. So you could be deciding to take a big leap into something like marriage or a new job or a move. You could also be dissolving something, deciding to walk away from a business that you started or an old relationship that no longer is working. Ends and beginnings, that's what's coming through for your sign this month. You and only you can decide where you're standing at that spectrum and if it's time to make that leap. But the fact that I'm actually seeing in my meditation that Fool energy or that world energy is there is showing me that if not this month, probably by the end of the year, you're going to be ready to wrap up things and start new things, which is exciting. Let's go ahead now and pull the Celtic Cross. At this point, I like to remain quiet as I shuffle the cards, lay everything out, but please stick around because after that, I'm going to pull the camera up and we'll go into a really nice deep dive talking about each and every card and how it relates to the information in the month ahead. As I look at your Catalyst card this month, it's all about reclaiming power. Just a quick reminder that the Catalyst functions as a way for you to access the highest potential energy in the month, also to diffuse any sort of issues or blocks that are coming through that aren't allowing you to really progress and get ahead. So this is how you can end stagnation. Now, the Power card, again, going back to that third chakra, a lot of times what happens here is that someone that we love in our life, it could be your mother, father, a boss, or a best friend. I'm getting a close, intimate relationship. And what's happened here is that the person is coming in and trying to kind of help you out, steer you on the right path, but they're not allowing you to perhaps own your decision, or you're not feeling good about things because they could be undermining your self-esteem. The good news is, of all the chakras, I find the third chakra is one of the easiest ones to work on. On an exercise or physical level, what you want to do is really focus on holding your core in a little bit more, and when you're sitting or standing, making sure that your posture is good. One very simple reason is that besides the fact that you're actually activating and strengthening the core, it's also going to create more of a presence. So right now I'm sitting up tall and I've activated that, basically my abdominal area. Let me show you what happens as I start to relax that. So I'm just going to relax it a little bit, not a big deal. But if I start to kind of slouch a bit, suddenly I feel a lot less in charge. And I think other people, when you look at this, if I'm kind of pulling my chest out, activating the core, and really feeling like I have this string of energy that's pulling me up, it gives me a little bit more authority versus this, or versus this. So focus on how you're holding yourself. Your nonverbal communication is actually allowing people to sometimes undermine your authority or not take you seriously. So the simple ability to improve posture and then project confidence through doing that is going to be really powerful. If you'd like to look up a really useful exercise to strengthen the core, there's something in Kundalini Yoga called the breath of fire, and you can easily search that on YouTube or on the internet, and it'll walk you through how you can basically do a series of rapid inhale and exhale exercises right around the core, and it kind of acts as a pump that's going to remove any of that stuck energy and allow for a greater flow and a greater strength as well within the core. I have something on my YouTube channel and website called a contract release that's also really valuable in this particular area. It's free, check it out. This is going to help you release cords and release contracts with someone in your life that you might be holding onto or might have some sort of a codependent relationship with. So if you feel inclined, feel free to check that out. Let's go ahead now and move along to the center card. It's really appropriate we were talking about all of that nonverbal communication, because one of the most demonstrative or nonverbal cards in the deck is Queen of Wands. She is able to move mountains, sometimes not just through her great ideas, but also through this ability to command respect. Think back to when you were a kid and, maybe it was your mom or it was your dad, but they would just step into the room, tell you to do something, and for whatever reason, you would just do it. It's because they projected that idea that I am your parent and I'm in charge. For some of us, that may have been an aunt or it could be a boss in our life, but we all have one person somewhere where when they say to do something, we do it because we just know that they have authority. And you have the potential to have that same impact on others in your life. But first you have to own that energy that a parent would have, which is, I guess I'm gonna have to do this because I had this child, they're looking at me, they're depending on me, I'm gonna find it somewhere within my core to parent this child. Just know that you don't have to be a mother or a father to have that sort of moment of clarity in your life. For some of you, if you're like me, you've decided to, create your own business, and all of a sudden you just have to face all of these new challenges. You take control of your finances, you talk to a lawyer, you figure out how to get things done. Because guess what? There's no one else to talk to. I can't pick up a phone and talk to HR or, talk to someone else in the division. I am everything. So when you have your own business, you learn a lot. And it is like you're a parent because you're creating something from scratch. One other thing I'd like to talk about with this card is that you are going to be held to your actions. You're going to be held accountable for what you're doing. So a surefire way to be successful and to gain respect is to just prove to people that you're a really great member of the team, that you're essential, that they can't do without you. And this is going to make people want more of what you're bringing to the table. Now, if you've said in the past that you need to act a certain way or do a certain thing and you are in a position of power, but you yourself are not walking that walk, you have to. This is a card of accountability as much as it is coming up with an idea, managing, or inspiring respect in others. That begins with who you are and how you conduct yourself. So be very careful this month. You're going to be under more scrutiny no matter where you fall in the sort of hierarchy. So people are expecting a lot of you. They view you as the Queen of Wands, which means they see that potential for strength, for management, and they're going to be disappointed if you fall short of that. But don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. That's why we're having this reading today. All right, crossing this is the Ace of Wands. I feel like this is a really good month for creativity. You've got the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Wands, which means that if you own the idea, share it, and do something with it, there's a potential for great success. But notice how this looks like a deer or antelope or something, but this creature has to kind of take this leap of faith to get to the other side. So what I want you to realize this month is that you have to believe in your dream. You have to see the potential. I mentioned way back at the beginning when I was doing the channeled message, Janus. This to me is indicative of that Janus vision that I have, which is take that leap of faith, trust yourself, trust in the future. Don't focus so much on where you might fall, where you might fail. Just know that you've got what it takes to get to the other side, okay? As we take a look now at your deep past, we have the Seven of Swords. And there are about 3 messages that are coming through when I look at this. The first one is an acknowledgement that many of you may have dealt with someone in your life that was tricky. Maybe didn't always tell the truth, or maybe had a difficult time doing what they said they were going to do, which is why I highlighted how important it is for you to really walk the walk this month. So whoever this person was or whatever this situation was, it came through so that you would know that this is not a way to act. Sometimes we have to see it in our life and you know, a friend, a family member, to know that that's not a pattern that we want to adopt ourselves. But what this can do sometimes is shatter our trust in others. So the second message is, this is also not indicative of everyone in your life. The most important thing that you could do now is recognize the warning signs. And I mentioned this month you're going to have heightened intuition, so you're going to be able to kind of sense or smell this sort of energy, and you won't go through that again. Just hold that in your thoughts, in your heart, and think, I'm not going to attract that kind of person or situation again. What I do want you to do, however, is to research things so that if you are going to partner up with somebody, whether it's in business, in life, in love, whatever, make sure that you truly know who they are. And once you have that trust established, you can proceed accordingly. I think the main thing here is just not to ignore the warning signs. You've learned what you needed to learn, okay? The other thing is sometimes with this card, you need to just walk away from something. This is in the past, so it could be simply about letting go of the anger, the disappointment, the upset that you might have experienced, but it could also be about still having a person in your life that doesn't exhibit the sort of core things that you would need, which is being truthful, which is being accountable. And if they can't come through on their promises, it's time to move on. It's time to walk away. So this was a lesson, and that's the main thing that we see here, but it's not one that you have to keep repeating, okay? As we look at recent past, we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. What I see with this card for some of you is that you're getting inspired to work on yourself. Maybe there's something that you've always wanted to do, go back to school, get some training, travel, something that is really, it feels like a treat for you, but it actually is going to enrich your life. If that's the case, I fully support that because it feels like it's going to bring you great joy. As I look at the near future, we have the Ten of Cups. The King of Pentacles in reverse can also be a sort of nudge from the universe to work on empathy and being present, because at its core, it's not a very giving card. It's one about investing in yourself. But sometimes when we see that energy here, if it's you, basically the card is saying, focus on listening to others, giving of your time to others, and just being a little bit more generous. It's going to pay off in the long run. When we open up, when we give to the universe and to people around us, we actually receive much more in return. So that's one of the things here, is just a message of service. So if you feel like you have some extra time or energy or want to develop that area, look at volunteer work, look at mentorship, big brother, big sister. There's a lot of things you could get involved with, and I think that would be great. If I connect the King of Pentacles to the Seven of Swords, this could actually be an identifier, which is saying that there's someone in your life. It could be an earth sign, but it could also just be someone who's just very focused on material things. Nice clothes, money, power. And this person seems to be someone in your life that isn't giving you what you're giving them. Again, this is time for you to kind of like cut the cords and stand up for yourself and say enough is enough. So in the crowning position this month, we have the Magician. And although it's reversed, it's still one of the most, I would say, positive cards and powerful cards in the deck. This is really a chance for you to open up as a clear channel. The Magician connects with divine energy and then brings it into something tangible. As we saw here at the beginning of the spread, this is very much Magician energy too. This is the ability to manage, to do. This is the ability to conceive and dream. Put the two of these together and combine them with the Magician. You have the potential this month to really not only create something, but get other people excited about it. That's why the Queen is there. And so I really want you to own your what it is that you want to do this month, because your passion, your power, and your belief becomes something that is magnetic, that catches on, that is viral. It's a good sort of energy and a good sort of momentum that you could build up. And as we're talking about this, my crown chakra started to kind of light up. I could feel some static around the back here. And I feel like I really want you to pay attention to the ideas that are just coming through your mind as you're, walking the dog or driving a car or taking a shower, or just sort of course, sitting and meditating, because it's these gentle thoughts that are just coming through your head that are super powerful. You're more plugged in this month than you think. So understand that intuition isn't always, this visual download like you would see in a movie. It can simply be an internal understanding that now I need to do this, or something that you feel in your heart and soul, and then you decide to act on it. So the subtle energy that's coming through this month, just know that your guides and angels are whispering, and that's why I could feel an activation in my crown chakra. Another message that I'm seeing for some of you is the transmission of energy through you. In other words, healing. We have this power source here, the divine energy that we were talking about. And then this card is about channeling and moving that energy into something. It could be a project, it could be an idea. It can also be something like Reiki energy or any sort of hands-on healing where you're able to channel and heal. So know that you have the capacity to do that for yourself, and that for those of you that want to embark upon some sort of an attunement, this is a good month to explore those sorts of things. To me, that's the natural healing card, depending on what I'm seeing around it, and I'm definitely picking up on that for some of you. As we look at near future here, we have the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups in and of itself is a great card. It shows that there's a lot of people around you that love you. But the reversal on this can show that you're in high demand. So at work, there may be a lot of requests for you to stay late, or you might be overloaded with things because people know that you just keep accepting work and that you're someone that gets things done. In your social life, it could be about overcommitting. And one thing that I mentioned is that if you had that habit in the past, this is the month to break it. Or if someone else has done that to you and you didn't like it, remember that. Better to say no than to say yes and not be able to follow through on that. Especially if you have like 6 engagements this week and you just feel like you're burned out. I think it would be better to speak up and let a couple people know that you just need to get a good night's sleep, that you're burned out from working too much or seeing too many people. It's a completely legitimate thing. So put down some limits and then just reschedule. I think that's the key thing. Say, I'd love to see you. How about next week instead? That's all. One thing that I want to highlight for any of you that are trying to get healthier, maybe either lose weight, or if you're sober and you're really trying to keep up with that, the Magician card followed by the Ten of Cups can show that in your social sphere, there could be some triggers. So make sure that you trust the people that you're hanging out with. There might be certain events where it's just too much of a temptation or there's too many triggers. So take care of that, and I think you'll be okay. The good news is when I look in the ego, you're going to be able to manage this. The Sun card is about a new beginning, a fresh start, and also about you owning your power. And that's what we're starting to see here is an evolution where you're feeling more confident and more able to do things. The Sun card also has a connotation of birth. It can be the birth of a child. And if so, there's a lot of divine masculine energy associated with this card. So there's a strong soul coming through. The other thing that we would see here is that if you're trying to birth a project or create something in your life, this is the time to begin it. So a new routine, a new project, or trying to get pregnant, all of these things are really good this month. And the other thing with this is there's a lot of charisma associated with the Sun card. So if I'm reading for a client and I'm looking at someone in their life and I see that come through for that person that I'm kind of investigating, I would immediately know that there is a sort of charm to the person. So when I'm looking at you this month, I would say don't underestimate the ability to turn on that charm to really work your nonverbal cues. So that's, again, posture, making sure that you are dressing the part, looking the part. This is going to attract people to you. We have the Two of Cups here, and it's in the environment. The only thing that's interesting about this is the reversal, which for me means that the most important thing is mutual attraction. When I'm looking at the Ten of Cups in reverse, this can be pushy. This can be friends and family that are kind of coming into your life and saying, hey, you should meet this person. And there's nothing wrong with being set up occasionally, but if you don't feel that mutual spark, and it really should be a spark, it should be something almost immediate, then you need to honor that and realize this may not, I have to date this person, not you. And sometimes that's a hard thing for people to understand. They're like, but you are perfect for each other. You and you alone understand if you're perfect for that person, and vice versa. So I see plenty of people around you, plenty of relationship opportunities if you're single and looking, but it has to feel right. If you're in an existing relationship, the Ten of Cups and Two of Cups has to do with immediate family and extended family. So some of you may be in a situation where you're living with your relatives for either cultural or financial reasons. And this can be both a blessing and also a big challenge or a block. The block can be in having that intimacy that you need with your partner. So it'd be a great time, if that's the case, to maybe take a vacation or just have a date night out. And then you can have that extended family babysit. That's one of the perks. And spend some time with your children if that's the case. Or if it's just the two of you and you don't have children, but you have that extended family member, maybe you could also help them take a vacation and then enjoy the time alone, whatever. I feel like there's a little bit of space that's needed, and you can do so in a way that feels good and honors privacy and needs of both parties. It's a blessing if you do have that family, but you need to make time for you, is what I'm seeing. If you're just in a traditional relationship and there's no extended family, but it's long term, what I'm seeing here is things need to be a little bit easier and a little bit more fun. So be willing maybe to just step outside of your routine and your comfort zone. This indicates a need for one or both partners maybe to have more physical connection with the other. And this is about just taking the initiative and being playful and suggesting that. So if it's been a while since you've had physical intimacy and you sense your partner misses that or you miss it, let them know. It's usually not going to be a bad thing. If that gets pushed back, then that's a conversation that you need to have as well, because love is important and the exchange of energy is important in a healthy relationship. And if one partner's blocking that, then see what's going on, see if you can understand and be there for each other, and hopefully work through that. In the hopes and fears, we have the Four of Cups. And what's really great about Four of Cups is it can show a hidden blessing. You see this cup all the way up here, and this person's sort of thinking that things aren't going to work out. I want you to realize that sometimes you can get in your own way of manifesting, or sometimes you're not realizing that there's something right there ready for the picking. And I think that this month I want you to focus on all of the possibilities, going back to the channeled message, the expansion that you can do. And when you step back a little bit, when you open up your heart and your mind and you look around, I think that there's an untapped opportunity, or there's some potential that you're going to find that will kind of all of a sudden give you new inspiration. This also means, even in a relationship, this can be about sometimes always comparing yourself to someone else. And this is saying you got a lot to be appreciative of in this relationship. So whether it's you or your partner, this can be one of the points that you bring up and you can work on, and you can celebrate how many positive things that you have, how much you've overcome, and just really be able to be there for each other. And that's what I'm seeing with the King of Pentacles. It's a nurturing energy, so obviously it's there, but it just feels like one partner is a little bit more introspective right now, so you're going to have to bring them out of their shell. As we look at the outcome card, it's very transformative. By definition, this is transformation. We have the Death card. So I feel like many of you are at a point in your life where it's time to step away from something, and Everything this month has been kind of building up to that. The Magician is showing you can do it, that you can actually bring into creation or Genesis something new, and you can manage whatever challenge this is, and you're going to have the charisma and the ability to bring in partnership and bring in support. For some of you, it's just a question of when you finally want to take the leap of faith, because the Four of Cups can be a vacillation card, thinking too much, over analyzing something that you know feels right. So the combination of Ten of Cups, Ace of Wands, the Sun, and the Death card is showing me that sometimes when it could be like the birth of a child, it's also sort of a death in a chapter of your life. You have a death and birth at the same time, which is I'm letting go of the old me. Now I'm coming through as a mother or as a father or as some new function in my life, and I'm going to embrace that. So there's a big transformative event for some of you, and whether it is gaining something or losing something, give yourself time to mourn that. You shouldn't rush through one of those sort of transitions. But if you can see what's coming through because of that, knowing that just like in the spring when you prune back old growth on a tree or something so that new growth can come through, or when you clear a space out in your closet and all of a sudden someone new moves into your life and they can share that space. It's kind of like you have to make room first so that something new can come into it, and that's what's going to happen at the end of the month. You have a lot of creative energy, and then at the end something has to leave as well. It's all about balance. So I wish you luck, and for those of you that are dealing with loss of a loved one, loss of a pet, or even property damage, my heart goes out to you, and I think that you can work through this. The Magician card is very resourceful, so know that you have exactly what it takes to navigate this, even if it's difficult to sort of parse as you're going through it. Let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. I look now at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and each one of these areas is multifaceted. When we look at health, it's a combination of mind, body, and spirit. What I was just talking about there is really important for health this month. We're not necessarily looking at something in the body. This is about your energy and your emotional state, and really how your thoughts project your reality. And so when you focus on possibilities and what can be created or what is already unfolding, then it actually manifests more of the same. Because we're seeing the Four of Cups and the Death card connected, some of you may need some assistance with dealing with grief or loss. Absolutely reach out and get that if you need it. Some other messages that I just want to reiterate from earlier, with the Ten of Cups and Two of Cups reversed, this is a common theme this month, by the way, but moderation is key for those of you that are trying to stay healthy, to lose weight, or to stay sober. The people that you hang out with need to be supportive of that, and if they're not, it's time to distance yourself from those people. That's all I really see right now, except again, the possibility for pregnancy. So if that's something you're looking for, great. If not, be careful. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at wealth. Wealth is not only your money situations or your work situations, it can deal with your self-worth and how you're attracting all of these opportunities in your life. So we have a reversal card here, but I'm going to pull it upright so we can read it. It says the sixth chakra and dealing with Archangel Metatron. So your sixth chakra is better known as your third eye. And as I mentioned this month, you're going to have a very clear activation in that space. For some of you, it can be coming through in the dreams that you have. For others of you, it's just simply the inspiration. And look how much inspiration is coming through here. We have Queen of Wands, which is like the quintessential ideation card, and then the idea in and of itself is presented here with Ace of Wands. We have the birth of that idea here as well. We have the channeling from the divine. So just open your heart, open your mind, take a chance, take a leap of faith. Some of you might have a new job where it's just really, really important for you to experience that level of connection with creativity. So if in the past you maybe had a good paying job, but you weren't feeling creative, I'm seeing your heart, your soul, your spirit singing and saying, please let me be creative in the next job, in the next endeavor. So be smart about that as you look forward into future opportunities, okay? As we take a look now at love and relationships, the message here is unconditional love. We have simply love. Loving without expectation, loving without fear that you're going to run out of it, because it is an infinite resource. It's the one thing that we take with us. And it's the most profound way that we can really touch and impact this world. So whether you're spending that love and passion in some sort of a cause that means something to you, I mentioned service might be something you're interested in, or you're creating a family, or you're spending time with that family that you've created, then that's where I think that a lot of the energy seems to want to go this month. I do definitely see a connection between this power struggle that you might be having and either your parent or a child in your life. And if that's the case, remember what I'm seeing here is to be gentle. Be gentle with yourself, be gentle with that child as well. And this change is going to be something that you'll have to work in. It can't just be like a 180-degree shift. So just be patient with yourself. As someone who adopted a rescue dog, it took him 2 years to come out of his shell, and it took 2 years for him to really start to warm up to me. And what I realized is I had to just keep showering the love, the positive reinforcement, and pretty soon the scars from the past faded. And so some of you might be going through that in your own family. You might be overcoming some anger or resentment or scars from your past. You don't want to repeat that with people in the present or the future. And so you have to love yourself and keep spending that love on yourself. And then if there's someone in your life that's been hurt, remember that even if they don't initially kind of react to the positive energy that you're putting out there, the persistence is key. And somewhere deep inside, they're so grateful that you're there for them. Even if they're speaking up and saying things that just are kind of hurtful, children especially, they still want that love. So be there, be strong. And I would say the one thing here is that looking at your body language and the way that you hold yourself and the way that you hold yourself accountable to things, this is how you can also create a shift within that power dynamic. Let's look now at your destiny card. For me, destiny indicates not something that's carved into a stone tablet. This is very malleable. I'm looking at your trajectory and hopefully giving you the insight that you need to decide if you want to stay on that path or if you want to do some sort of a course correction. The message here says, beyond the mind, the heart beats. So this is really going back to opening up your heart, doing something that you care about. And I think for those of you that are feeling stuck in love, stuck in your career, stuck in life, this is about meditating and deciding, what is it I truly want to do? This is your chance to pick up that forgotten dream or that forgotten inspiration and allow it to move through your life. There are a lot of people around you that care about you, and I think that they want you to be happy. So one thing that you could do as you step into this new path is just say, this is something that would bring me a great sense of fulfillment. I feel like my heart, my soul, my energy wants to take me there. And then know that the changes that you're making are going to be supported. But you have to let them know that it's important for you to be happy too. Especially for those of you that are very maternal or paternal and you're spending a lot of this time mothering or fathering people in your life. This is your month to do a little bit for you, and you're going to notice that you have more to give. You have more energy, more love, more light to shower on the world. Okay? So let's go ahead now and take a look at everything that we talked about, and then I will leave you with your closing message. Your catalyst this month was to focus on possibilities, realizing that as you really look at everything in front of you, more and more expansion can happen. If you look at the past and you focus on what hasn't happened or what isn't starting to manifest, then in essence, you're actually kind of muting the energy of the magician, which sat here at the top of your spread. Your catalyst was all about reclaiming power. And for some of you, this could be from a past relationship. It could also be from a parent or parental type figure in your life. And all you have to do this month is focus on really believing that you deserve that power back, working a little bit on your nonverbal and physical sort of posture. And this is also going to ultimately affect the way other people see you. And this sets you up for what we see at the center here, which is the Queen of Wands. This is a quintessential card of management and authority, showing that you have everything that it takes this month. You just have to believe it. Many of you will have a great idea, which, by the way, you're going to have the ability to give birth to and to really do something with this month. So if you are an inventor or an engineer, get that idea patented. If you are sort of an entrepreneur, this is a great time to get the business started as well. And if you're just in a regular job, this is a time for you to create new habits in your life, because Queen of Wands, Ace of Wands, and the Sun card, it's really about putting something new into motion. So just decide what part of your life you want to kind of invigorate and know that you have the energy there to support it. We see in the past a need to walk away from either an old habit or a person that perhaps hasn't been accountable, that kind of chipped away at your ability to trust people. Know that that existed so that you would be able to recognize all of those warning signs, but it's not indicative of the same thing happening at time and time again. Remember, however, that it's important for you to walk the walk, talk the talk. It has to all match up. If you don't, then there may be some issues popping up in friends, family, and social spheres. King of Pentacles in reverse shows that for some of you, it's time to invest in yourself. There may also be a tendency to focus too much this month on your energy, so I encouraged you to look at service, and that's going to help you broaden your scope and your view. Magician reversed. Remember that you have great ability to channel and to focus and to bring about something this month, but you have to also try not to overextend. And with the 10 of Cups and 2 of Cups in reverse, I see a lot of people tugging at your time and your resources, so be strong. 10 of Cups reversed is showing that, again, you may need to say no to some people. I'm seeing also a little bit of a clashing between family and maybe who you're dating, or extended family and you and your partner. Just remember, boundaries are important, and spending that time together with the one you love is also important. With the Sun card, again, creative energy at your disposal, whether you're creating a project, trying to start a family, or doing something new in your life and you want to set into motion a new habit, it's all there at your disposal. As we're looking at the 2 of Cups and the 10 of Cups, again, important for you to stand your ground. That's what the Queen of Wands is saying. Don't be forced into something, whether it's friends or family. This is your chance to really make sure that you want it. And that includes being set up or trying to be forced into a social situation that doesn't feel right. You and only you can decide that. As we look here at your hopes, fears, and opportunity, the 4 of Cups is saying that there is something right around the corner or in your periphery that you might be missing. So there's a blessing right there. So make sure that you're being as present as possible and looking at where you can really take advantage of some of these blessings in your life. If you're bored, if you're feeling like you're not doing what you want, or if you're just feeling like there's something more that you need to be doing, the Death card here at the end is saying it's okay, it's time, in fact, for you to make that change. If you're suffering from any sort of loss in your life, this is a month where you should lean on friends and family. It looks like they're there, they want to help you out, or seek out some assistance if you need it. Expanding the forecast again, we have positivity being key to overall health. We talked about moderation as well, and picking and choosing who you're hanging out with very carefully, especially if you're trying to be sober or healthy. Third eye opening for many of you this month as we're looking at wealth. And this, in the sector of wealth, this has to do with creativity, trusting your gut instinct, and making sure that the next job that you're taking really uses all of these skills that you have to offer. For love, it really has to do about close-knit relationships this month and showering that person with love. And it could also be showering yourself with love. Somebody needs some healing this month, and it's the unconditional love that's going to be really key to that. And finally, going back to kind of connecting what we just saw here in the wealth sector, beyond the mind, the heart beats. You can't just be doing something because it makes sense or makes money. You have to have something else in your life that is bringing you on a journey to fulfillment with your heart and with your soul. And once you do that, and especially if you can kind of overlap that with your work, you're going to be in a powerful position, you're going to be happy, and you're going to be manifesting really great opportunities in your life. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but hopefully you got exactly what you needed to travel through all the opportunities and deal with any of the challenges that might be coming your way. If you ever feel like you'd like to talk a little bit more about something that I covered here, or if there's something going on in your life and you'd like some advice, you can absolutely reach out to me. Click on the first card in the video or the first link below it, and that'll take you to my booking site where you can check out rates and availability. And if that makes sense, then I look forward to seeing your name on my calendar. Otherwise, if you would just like to say thank you, everything here is viewer supported, and you can support me by becoming a patron. By clicking on the second card or second link, you can check out all the different options on my website. And this can be anything from like a one-time contribution of $1 to something more substantial or more recurring through Patreon or even by joining the channel here. What this does for me is it continues to allow me to upgrade my all the different decks that I read with, but more importantly, I need to also use lighting equipment, production equipment, and set up the time to do the videos. So just know that if you've given a contribution in the past, everything that you see today is a direct result of that kindness and that generosity. And if you're thinking of doing it in the future, I just like to say in advance, it means a lot, and I'd like to dedicate this or the future video to you. The last way that you can show support is really easy. It just involves a few clicks. So if you haven't already liked, subscribed, and commented, please consider doing that right now. That lets me know. It also lets YouTube know that this is something that's helpful. So thank you in advance there. You can also join me on social media. So go ahead and click on the third card and third link if you'd like to do that. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I also have a newsletter. If you like what you see, consider also sharing that on your social media feed, because one of my planetary goals is not only to create intelligent conversations about spirituality, but it's also to help people, help them wake up, help give them the tools that they need. And when you share this free resource, you help me with that planetary goal. So I just want to say in advance, also thank you for that. Finally, I would like to leave you with your closing word. As we've been talking right here, right now, I feel the activation in my solar plexus. For many of you, this could be also kind of manifesting as maybe indigestion or just this feeling of a knot in your stomach. So I really want you to focus on looking up some of those exercises we talked about, such as the breath of fire or working with Pilates or yoga, really putting a little bit of TLC into your health and to strengthening the core. And remembering that you have everything that you need to be a good leader, to be able to take an idea or a dream and bring it into reality. The main thing for you is to stay committed and focused in what it is that you want. And there's a lot of people that seem to care about you. We've got the 10 of Cups and 2 of Cups, but they can be a little overwhelming, and I feel like that's what's coming through in the solar plexus. So if you are feeling that pressure in your life, just make sure that you're doing what you want to do here. And I think that's ultimately what this card was saying is you have to live your life for yourself. You have to have fulfillment. You need to be feeling creative, and know that just as important as it is to have like someone that you love or to spend time with your family, you also need to be feeding yourself, your soul. So love yourself, be kind to yourself, and know that that's going to make you a better friend, a better parent, a better son, a better daughter, etc. Okay? I wish you all the best, and I want to just say at the end of this video a little bit of gratitude. Thank you for spending time with me. Your time is valuable too, so I appreciate that you spent it here today. Until we see each other again, have a wonderful November. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you real soon.